back in 2018, I got the privilege of sharing a stage at a conference down in Florida with this guy and Torin Ellis. It is an absolute privilege to have him here today. And there is no here. I literally reached out to him and said, hey, I'm on this DE&I journey, and I just love to bounce some thoughts off you and get your input on something that I've just been writing because I need help. And so jumped onto this Zoom call here today, just a Zoom call. Halfway through, I'm like, I should be recording this. There's some rich gems here. So I hit record. The end of the conversation, I'm just putting a front load on this now. And so you're about to hear a cool input, insight, wisdom from Torin Ellis. You can find him at torinellis.com. Wasn't the intention, but beauty came from this time and rich things for me. I'm more enriched today just from this half hour. If he gives you some of his time, hit record at the beginning because you're going to miss if you don't. So, Torin, thank you for the conversation we've just had. For those listening right now or watching right now, the conversation that you're about to watch.
So I just think that, you know, we are at a very unique point in life, in history. And I just feel like if, in fact, people are genuine, if they are really dialed into what they say is important, then they will be contributors. They will be authors of a new history. They will be people who 50 years from now will look back and say, this is what we did in COVID. Yes, we were going through COVID and the catastrophe that brought on us, but wow, what a different arc we were able to help narrate and to explore. And so I just think that more of us need to be included in that journey, man. We just need more people around. And I asked about location for a reason, because I thought of you being where you said Wisconsin. I said Michigan, Wisconsin. And so I think that even though we are 80 strong, distributed in various cities around the country, small, medium, and large, some alpha cities, Bravo cities.
Yeah.
I think that those individuals on your team, the ones that really are committed to this work, they will begin to go out and establish relationships with community organizations, academic institutions that are in their geographic footprint.
Yeah.
They will establish relationships with some of the larger churches, maybe mid-sized churches in the community. They will do that, you know, because it's just going to become natural for them. I just firmly believe, Jonathan, we have spent too long hiding behind phrases that have become familiar. The war for talent.
Yeah.
We've been saying that since 1998, 96, something like that. So you're talking 20-something years of using that as a reason why it's hard for us to build high-performing teams versus saying, listen, client so-and-so or client X, we'll be on your search, you know, expeditiously like we always would be, but we really need you to carve out some patience and space for us to help you create a different program, a different pipeline, because we have this great opportunity, collaboration partner, strategic partner, field of dreams, as they would say. We got something over here we think we can nurture, but we need your help doing it. And oh, by the way, we don't want just you and I to do it. We'll even take some of your competitors, some of the complementary organizations in the city, and we all are working towards, let's nurture the talent that we want.
Yeah.
Let's spend some time really showing the community that we care more than about our bottom line. So I don't want to hijack the conversation, but I just feel like, you know, and you are so uniquely positioned. Like, think about some of these organizations, some of these agencies, you know, where all of their people are in one place, or maybe in one geographic region. So their potency is there, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with their potency being right there. But 80 people, strategically dispersed,
Right. Yeah.
forget
No,
about
it's good. I think that's one of the kind of our DNI journey. This whole deal of kind of where our people are at. We want to connect with the community where we're at, but we're 100% remote, so it's a little bit odd. Our client base is we have 800 clients around the United States, and they're all in these different communities. But we want to be representative and how to serve them best. They are diverse themselves, so our client base is very diverse from industry, from all manners and means of diversity, and we want to make sure that we're reflective and serving them well and supporting that welcome and inclusion. It is exciting to us, but saying this is the least diverse we'll ever be, we're on a journey. The journey starts today. Tomorrow we wake up, the journey starts today. It's almost like there's this new journey all the time, this freshness, aliveness of ready, what is in store for us today, of welcoming diverse thought and perspective, and how do I look for that? And then the other perspective from my angle is you can't outsource diversity. You can't say, oh, cool, here's this checkbox, here's our department that handles that, like it's accounting or something. It's got to be a cultural piece of a value of people. And we just not talked about it at Titus enough. And we've not talked about it at Titus at all. That's honest. And so we're now saying, okay, now we're not entering the conversation. We're starting our journey 1 foot, then the next foot, then the next foot, and being with a posture of humility of I don't know, which is scary. It's scary because, I think it's just scary. Scary saying I don't know, and it's welcoming of lots of people's opinions on it. But I guess that's part of the journey, welcoming people's opinions. But we went through this during COVID, like, stop, let's respond to this. Let's reimagine a bit who we're going to be in the future. And then let's rebound together. And part of our reimagining is not who we are. Our values remain the same. We're not going to give up on our values or change our values, but we are a desperate need for a diverse thought and perspective in our team. And so that's the kind of the journey that we're on. And I'm on a quest for input. I'm on a quest for voices. I'm on a quest for look at my own circles as a CEO. Who is in my home on a Friday night that thinks differently than me? Their perspective of life is different. And am I looking for the difference because it's going to shape me and make me better, a better whole person? And which I think that's the hardest part of, if my wife and I said, oh, you know who would be a great couple to go on vacation with? That couple. Why? Oh, we're both foodies. We like going to the same places. We think the similar. We're not going to be fighting about stuff from different perspectives. We're just on the same page. It's easy. They're a nice couple to go on vacation with. It feels like, to me, like the diversity, equity, and inclusion, this whole thing. Yeah, you know what? They are the complete opposite of me. We should go on vacation. Oh gosh, that'll be hard, huh? It's going to be more work. And so the journey of work, because you have to slow down to embrace something that's different by thought and perspective.
And there is absolutely a bit of a trade-off. You know, when we think about it using the example you just used, be it the home on a Friday evening, the vacation that the family may decide that they want to take, two very, very, very intimate examples.
Yeah.
And what I would say to that is, you know, because I don't have this conversation often. So what I would say to that in this moment, you know, I wouldn't necessarily be critical of Jonathan or a Jonathan, using Jonathan as a name for just in general. I wouldn't be critical of a family if they didn't have diversity in their home on a Friday evening, or if they found that to be a bit of a challenge on a vacation. Very, very, very intimate examples.
Yeah.
That proximity is different than, you know, working together at a team. I tend to think of, you know, I think back to when I was in corporate America and we would go to the happy hour after work. I'm the leader of the team. I had 18 people on my team. There were somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 people in the building, give or take. Most people in the building knew who I was. I don't say that braggingly. It's
Yeah.
just, it was my persona to walk around and
Yeah.
tap people on the back of their shoulders, say what's happening, you know, hey, how you doing, Jonathan? What's going on, Sarah? You know, so I knew almost everyone in the building.
Yeah.
It's different on a Friday evening after work, Tuesday evening after work.
Yeah.
Do you go and do a happy hour only with the people on your team, whether it
Right.
is diverse or not diverse? Do you do it where it's the people on your team and you extend the invitation to other people in the building of 500?
Yeah.
Do you extend the invitation to the other people and tell them that they can extend it to like a +1, invite a friend, your partner, your
Yeah.
significant other? So I tend to think of the DNI as it is a challenge, but I don't necessarily make it intimate. I don't get into a person's spiritual life where they
Yeah.
spend time at church or
Yeah. Yeah.
schools,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
those
That's
things
that's
are
helpful.
they're a little bit different, you know. And again, not saying that pursuing it isn't healthy. I just am not as, I'll use the word critical for lack of a better word.
Yeah. No, I
I'm
get
not
you.
I'm not as critical there because that's just personal, you know. Like
What do you think about? I mean, statistically, some of the best hires are internal referrals, right? So
yeah
we talk about who is in your circle,
yeah
and the problem, I think, and my company's
it's a
been built
circle.
by internal referrals, is personal circles.
It's a
So you got,
circle.
we 5 years into our company, we look inside. If you peered out through the curtains, you go, wow, they sound similar. They talk the same way. They look similar. What is going on here? I'm like, well, it's the personal circles because of what your point of lack of it's very intimacy, and you're not going to be critical. And I appreciate that, but
Yeah.
there's something of this quest for me of saying, but that's how you're going to have internal referrals that are of diverse backgrounds
Yeah, so
because of circle.
I think about that, and that's the reason why I think about it differently. You know,
Okay.
when I'm at home and I'm kicked up with a remote control and Netflix, you know, that's my space.
Yeah.
I don't have to be on in that space.
Yeah.
When I'm in the workplace and I want my business to be as best as it can possibly be,
Mm.
I don't need somebody else like me with a remote watching Power or
Right.
the same exact show. We're
Yeah.
not necessarily growing in that regard. I'm going to actually talk about something this Sunday on my SiriusXM show. And I found an article that said, where will the next 1 billion internet users come from? And so it caused me to pause. Like, I kind of take for granted that most people are already on the internet, when in all actuality, it's
No.
not.
No.
And so then when I looked at the top 5, top 10 areas, countries where these new billion users are coming from, my mind just started clicking. Like, okay, wait a minute. So you're saying that somebody could really like get $100,000 worth of equipment and maybe set up mobile hotspots in some of these areas, and now they got $1 million business, or we. So literally, my mind is moving like this, but that's what diversity is about in that regard. So when I think about the company and the referrals, it's easier, but we're not building our home life in the company. We're building a company. So we know that if in fact our circles are very much the same and we all sound and think alike, like you just said a moment ago, I would ask the team, what are we missing?
Yeah. That's great.
We have 800 clients now. We want to be at 30 million. How are we going to get there?
Yeah.
So what are
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. That's what thought or perspective are we not we're missing out on here in this group of here's our objective and where we miss. Yeah.
And in many ways, Jonathan, there should not be an answer, because you can't speak for the individuals that are not at the table. I'll flip it on the other side. You're working on the search. You and I are working on the search. We have different perspectives. You're in San Diego. I'm in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Both of us are remote.
Yeah.
The person that I bring in, the third person, is blind.
Yeah.
Changes the context of the entire conversation between the three of us.
Yeah.
Soon as I introduce that person who's blind, soon as I introduce that individual who might be Muslim,
Yeah.
and they bring their perspective. So in many ways, when we ask the question, well, what are we missing to get to the $30 million?
You don't know. You don't know until
Sometimes
you
we
bring it
don't
in.
know.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes we don't know. I mean, I get it. As a leader, we got some ideas. As people part of the Titus team, we certainly have some ideas.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we're missing that contribution because there's some people not sitting at this table. And there's somebody that should be sitting here that probably has, I don't want to call it a silver bullet, but they got a jolt in their pocket. And once they drop that into the consideration,
yeah,
it's like all of us are on a Zoom call, and once that one person drops that idea, you're like, oh,
yeah, totally. Yes,
that's what it
good.
is.
Good.
So that's why I say I'm not critical about people's personal circle and home and church and not that. I'm just always focused on how do we show up in the workplace, because we spend so much time in the workplace.
I love it, man. So give me just from my perspective, we have clients that range from huge 50,000 employees. That's huge for us, to companies that are 20 people. Where do you come most alive? I mean, you've worked with some great brands, that CM Nike and Redfin and ESPN, some great labels to have. Partner with these organizations. They brought me for my who I am, what I bring, my thought and perspective, and my counsel, coaching, etc. What's your ideal? If I was to make an introduction that you go, oh yeah, thank you, Jonathan. That's the introduction I wanted.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it's really about who wants to be on a different journey, trajectory. Who wants to change the outcome as it relates to inclusion and representation? Who's willing to be honest that on Thursday, tomorrow is Black Women's Equal Pay Day? Did you know that?
They get paid equal just tomorrow only?
Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
So the way that Black Women's Equal Pay Day means is December 31st of 2019, white men made a certain amount of money.
Okay.
March 8th or thereabouts, white women made what they made. August 13th, Black women made what white men made in December of 2019. September 8th, 9th, 10th, something like that, Latina women made what white men made the year before. That's when we say equal pay day, it took that extra amount of time, March, August, September, for those audiences to make what white men made in the year before. That's tomorrow. So when you say what introduction can you make, the introductions that I want are introductions where people are leading organizations and they say, we know we can do better.
Yeah.
We just don't necessarily know what to do.
Yeah.
And we don't know if we want to do it from a bottom-up approach, which is a focus on talent acquisition, or if we want to do it top-down approach, which is a focus on leadership. You got leadership that is paralytic. I tease them. I say, pull that tranquilizer or pause out of your forearm. Because right now, as leaders, so many of them are sitting on pause. They just have that tranquilizer there. And they're paralyzed. They're like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't know what to do first. Those are the introductions that are optimal for me.
Oh, I love it.
Introductions that are optimal for me are leaders who are not afraid to talk about the journey that they're on.
Yeah.
They may just be in the beginning.
Yeah.
They may have been working at this thing for the last 5 years and have had some successes and some failures. I want to talk to those leaders, let them come on my Sirius XM show. So it's not always about making money for me.
Yeah.
It is about how do we shift the narrative around diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging? how do we
Yeah.
change our relationship with that conversation? I want a
Yes. Yeah.
different conversation. I don't want white men to be afraid of the conversation, to be tired of the conversation, to avoid the conversation.
Mm.
I don't want black men to be afraid of the conversation, to be tired of the conversation,
Yeah.
to avoid the conversation. And I can do that for every other
Sure.
group. I
Yeah.
don't want people, I want people to want to have that conversation. So when you
Yeah.
say an introduction, I'm open, even if it's just somebody saying, I need somebody to hop on with a Zoom like you and I are doing right now.
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh, I
where to
love it.
start. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I need to do. I got the right guy for you.
That's
Let
great.
talk
But
to
it's,
Torin.
I love this. It's showing up to the conversation, and even there may be some apprehension, it's you got to take a step. It's one day at a time, and that's
All day.
the whole story and journey that we're on, of humanity, of relationships, of honoring all people, honoring one another, and finding the gold in one another. I love this. This was not a plan. Halfway through this, I'm like, well, you're saying some great stuff here. I should be recording this. And now I'm like, oh, let's just turn this into a podcast right now. Let's go, baby.
Come on, man. Listen, because it's so incredibly important.
Yeah,
And I think when, again, even when you think about the calendar invite and what you might have envisioned as a conversation,
yeah,
we had what we were supposed to have. And
yeah,
I just think that a lot of organizations, they are equally as capable of having it. They just have to. And
yeah,
sometimes they need a bit of a nudge. Some need a little more motivation than others. But I think that when we have this conversation and we repeatedly have it, and
yeah,
we have it in context with, product roadmaps or with corporate social responsibility or learning and development or supply chain or technology stack, when we
yeah,
have this conversation as an overlay, as an intersection of all of these other aspects of business, as dividends, as shareholder reports, as
yeah.
board governance, we just all, to me, we're just simply saying we have a much better organization. We have a stronger organization. I got more people enrolled in my organization. Like,
Yeah.
I know what it's like to work right here and the beauty that's within. I just think it's a much more beautiful, it's like this artwork on my shoulder.
Yeah.
This guy, you can't see it right now, but he actually takes old 2x4s that are rickety, so like
Yeah.
crates or pallets,
Yeah.
breaks them up in half. He stretches leather across them, and then he paints. And I don't know how he paints. He writes backwards because he's dyslexic. You can't see the handwriting in there, but anything that he writes on the painting is backwards. He's dyslexic. I have his artwork all throughout my house.
I love it.
I think that this conversation is like art.
Mm.
It's a beautiful exchange of different ideas and how we could just be so much better. And that's
Oh, I
why
love
I'm
it.
willing to show up every single day. I'm willing to show up and I'm a fight. I get tired, but I'm a fight because I just think it's beautiful. I think the end result is beautiful.
Anything you want to just add, wrap up our time here together, Torin?
Yeah, no, I just appreciate it. I just feel like we live in life's moment.
Yeah.
We are always moving through such. We never know exactly what that moment is going to deliver to us. It can change just like that. And
Yeah.
so I just feel like the invitation that you extended to me was genuine. The exchange we had was even more genuine. And the journey that we're about to go on is going to be the most of genuine. And so I'm appreciative that we reconnected, my friend. Thank you so much.
I love it. I love it. Let today be the least diverse that you've ever been by the circles in your life, the voices that you welcome and receive from, the challenge that comes in. Diverse thought and perspective is a journey that we're all on. And I'm looking forward to growing in friendship with you, man. Whatever partnership looks like, whatever walking together looks like, whatever alliance looks like, I'm in. I am in 2 feet. Thank you for being a part of my journey and our journey here at Titus.
My
Thank you.
man.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
brother. I appreciate you, man, for real.